This is Lecture 4.0, an examination of strategy and strategic planning within the computer science framework of mathematics for computing. Protecting digital assets requires managing a swarming environment of external, highly adaptable threats. A cybersecurity strategy serves as the formal, long-term plan used to align an organization's defense mechanisms with its specific business objectives. This strategy integrates four core elements: risk assessment, security policies, resource allocation, and incident response planning. Strategic planning is often perceived as a qualitative process focused on drafting administrative policy. In computer science, strategic security functions as a rigorous, quantifiable optimization problem. Architects solve this problem by applying discrete mathematics for risk, linear programming for resource distribution, iterative functions for lifecycle management, and probability theory for system architecture. Using these mathematical domains allows an architect to produce verifiable evidence regarding the viability of an enterprise defense system. The strategic planning process begins with risk assessment, the necessary step for quantifying threat exposure. We model this exposure using a formal weighted summation equation for total strategic risk. Within this equation, every individual threat is evaluated by multiplying its estimated probability, p, by its projected impact, I. For example, a phishing threat with a 0.7 probability and a 0.6 impact results in a calculated risk weight of 0.42. A malware threat carries a 0.5 probability and a 0.8 impact, yielding a risk score of 0.40. A data breach might have a lower 0.3 probability, but its 0.9 impact score results in a 0.27 risk weight. Aggregating these individual weights through the summation formula provides a total strategic risk score of 1.09. While the inputs for probability and impact involve estimation, this discrete mathematical model provides a standardized baseline to compare disparate threats. Establishing this quantifiable baseline is the prerequisite for justifying any specific resource allocation within the organization. The strategic planning process follows 6 stages: defining objectives, analyzing the current state, identifying risks, developing the strategy, implementation, and evaluation. Mathematical optimization is applied specifically during the strategy development phase. This phase is governed by a core optimization constraint: maximizing security effectiveness while remaining within budget limits. In this scenario, the enterprise operates under a strict capital limit of 100,000 ringgit. The architect must distribute this capital among computing needs: hardware firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and user training programs. This creates an operational conflict where the goal of maximum protection must be balanced against finite financial resources. We resolve this conflict using linear programming to identify the precise distribution that yields the highest security level allowed by the budget. The viability of an architectural strategy depends on its ability to maximize these defense parameters without violating the organization's financial constraints. We manage security as a continuous, dynamic process known as the information security lifecycle. The lifecycle consists of 5 operational phases: plan, implement, monitor, review, and improve. This sequence forms a plan, do, check, act feedback loop, ensuring the security posture remains relevant as threats constantly evolve. Mathematically, we represent this iteration as the state at time t+1 equaling the current state plus the change in security. The delta S variable represents discrete improvements per cycle, such as software patches, policy updates, and new firewall rules. If a baseline security level of 50 receives an improvement value of +10 in a single cycle, the systemic security level reaches 60. Executing 3 complete cycles results in a final systemic state of 80. Modeling security as an iterative algorithm demonstrates that defense levels will degrade relative to the threat environment without continuous mathematical compounding. Enterprise security architecture involves the structured design of systems, networks, and policies across the entire organization. The design is composed of 4 functional layers: infrastructure, data, application, and business. These layers are secured through principles like defense in depth, least privilege, and zero trust. We calculate the probability of a successful attack piercing these layers using a multiplicative probability formula. Consider an architecture with 3 independent layers, each having a failure probability of 0.5. Because the failures must occur sequentially and independently, the total probability of attack success is 0.5 cubed, or 0.125. This layered defense uses probability theory to exponentially reduce the likelihood that a threat reaches core business assets. Effective cybersecurity strategy requires a long-term, risk-driven plan anchored in mathematical models. These models include discrete summation for risk, linear programming for allocation, iterative functions for life cycles, and probability theory for layered architecture. Applying these models allows an architect to verify the efficiency of their resource distribution and the reliability of their layered defenses. The policy document provides the intent, but the underlying mathematics provide the proof of a system's integrity.